Today on the show, we are going to give you an inside look into the artist brain so you know the top things not to do around your tattoo artist. You've got an appointment to get that tattoo, or maybe you're just, you haven't had the appointment yet, but you just decided it's time to get a tattoo. These are things that are guaranteed to piss off every tattoo artist. All right, guys, we're about to get into it. Before we do, make sure to like and subscribe so you can get more great videos just like this one.
So the first thing we're gonna talk about is having good personal hygiene. I know this kind of goes without saying, and don't want to insult anybody when saying this, but we know life is busy. You could be leaving your job, you could be leaving the gym, but either way, when you make a tattoo appointment, try to leave time in there to give yourself the opportunity to come in your best, cleanest self. Whether you give yourself time to shower or some baby wipes, come in. We're gonna be in really close corners all day.
Yeah, close corners for sure.
We're gonna be in close corners all day.
And yeah, man, your artist is right in there, up close and personal with you. It can be really distracting if there's a stinky situation going on. It can be hard for the artist to do their best work. If you're sitting for an extended, a full day session, something like that, you might start sweating. I mean, the body does all sorts of things when you get a long tattoo, and sweating is not uncommon at all. Bring a little extra stick of deodorant with you in your tattoo bag. Nobody will be mad about that.
No harm in it. And if you're tattooing like a lower leg, or a calf or something like that, I know for me, like, not only do I want my client to be comfortable, but like to keep the bed cleanly and cleaner from a shoe that's been on the ground all day when they walked in there. I don't want that on the bed and on my drape cloth. So I want my client to take their shoes off as they're coming onto the tattoo bed. So let's keep those feet smelling good.
That's just good life advice.
That's just good life advice. You're welcome.
All right, the next behavior you want to make sure to avoid is moving around and fidgeting. Don't move around and fidget. Tattooing requires a lot of very precise movements. It's a very technical art form, and if you make a mistake, that's it a lot of the time. You're dealing with a lot of permanent mark making. So being able to have a steady hand and be very precise about what you're doing is so important. If you bring things to pass the time, entertain yourself, whether it's a book or watching videos on your phone, or you're scrolling Instagram or texting, or whatever you're doing, make sure that first and foremost it's not causing you to move around, because that can be a major distraction for your artist and really impact the quality of your tattoo. All right, the next behavior you want to try and avoid is micromanaging the artist or the design. You picked your artist for a reason. Hopefully it's because you love their work and you trust them to come up with something amazing for them. The last thing that any artist wants is for someone to be overly nitpicky and kind of micromanaging, and really, like, artists don't want to feel like their hands are tied creatively. It should still be a collaborative process. You should feel comfortable. You should feel like if you have ideas or input, you want to feel like you're being heard and your artist is taking that into consideration. I think it's important to know that every decision the artist makes, they're making it for a reason. They're the expert, and it's just important to trust them and let them do their job.
All right, so the next thing that we're gonna talk about, a behavior that you wanna avoid, is being too pushy or being too naggy. So interacting with an artist can start before you even come in to get a tattoo. So respecting their process and their timeline is really, really important when you're interacting with them. Your first interaction is your first impression. So you wanna make sure that you respect their process and you look at the best way to communicate with them to either get a consultation or to communicate about your tattoo moving forward once you have an appointment.
Artists wear a lot of hats. They're tattooing full-time, they're designing, and responding to every request that they get can be another full-time job. So when you send off that request, if you don't hear back, whether it's a few hours or a few days, just be patient. Make sure you don't send a pushy or nagging email.
Yeah, nothing worse than getting a bunch of messages that are just question marks, or just people who just having like a conversation with themselves. Yeah, give them time to respond, and then if it's been a respectable amount of time, a polite email, make sure I didn't get lost in the shuffle. They'll usually be pretty receptive to that.
All right, another thing you want to avoid so as not to annoy your tattoo artist is not following the aftercare instructions properly. This is a huge one. Artists put so much time and love and care and attention into your tattoo. We've got years of experience that are going into that tattoo, and we can work all day to make it the best tattoo we've ever done. But after it leaves the shop, it's really out of our hands. And there's nothing worse than spending all that time and attention on a tattoo and seeing that the client just totally disregarded your instructions when it comes to taking care of it. Artists know what works best for them and their tattoos. And it is so important to listen to your artist, even if you've been tattooed before and you maybe, you've done one thing with a previous tattoo. Every artist works differently, so they're gonna know what works best for healing their tattoos.
All right, so the last thing that we're gonna talk about on the list of bullshit that really annoys your artist is putting too much time between your tattoo appointments. If you have a large piece, like a sleeve, or a big back piece, or something else that's large scale, if you put too much time between your appointment, it can be really annoying and hard for your artist. Now, a fully healed tattoo that's been healed for a long time versus a fresh tattoo, you might end up needing going back into areas, and this can make the process take longer than maybe your artist predicted in the first place. So, it's really hard for the artist to give a realistic timeline for how long something's gonna take if you end up taking a lot longer between the sittings. Also, something to think about in the cost of the tattoo and for the artist is just making sure you're trying to bring those appointments close enough together that the tattoo can heal at the same kind of time rate and actually look the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, another reason not to make too much time between appointments, aside from the healing and discrepancies in the technical aspect, the pigment, artists' interests change over time. We're human. Artists are constantly evolving, and the best artists are constantly growing and changing and being interested in different things. And there's nothing that's more of a bummer for your artist than still just like slowly chipping away once or twice a year at a project that they've been working on for that they designed years ago. Maybe their style or what their interests are have totally changed from then, but they're still working on this piece from years ago. So I think just we understand, like Andy said, that tattoos are expensive, of course, but just kind of having a game plan and an understanding of how long and roughly how many sessions this tattoo is going to take, and then making sure that this is a commitment you're ready for, because as Andy mentioned, it can end up just costing more in the long term if you put too much time between appointments. So that's it for all we could think of right now as far as certain behaviors that are guaranteed to really bother your tattoo artist. Maybe there's something that we left out. Let us know if there's something that you thought of, some etiquette, some sort of tips that you thought of to let people know for their tattoo appointments. If you're a tattoo artist and there's something else that bothers you, or you don't agree with something that we said, maybe we're way out of line. Let us know.
Yeah, maybe you like stinky people. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe.